Greetings from New York City. I'm Phil and we're running the bridges. This is a video series where we visit all the bridges in New York City that you can run across. The big, the small, the old, the new, the world famous icons, and the ones you've never even heard of. And today we are visiting the Eastchester Bridge. You can see the sign right up there. I believe you can see the sign. The Eastchester Bridge. And this carries Boston Road over the Hutchinson River in the Eastchester neighborhood of the Bronx, in the northeastern part of the Bronx. And so we're at the corner now of Boston Road, and it's Provost Avenue to the east, basically north, and Connor Street off to the north, Provost Avenue over to the south. Boston Road is generally kind of east-west, but more like northeast, like east-northeast, west-southwest. So it goes in an angle, but in any case, this is Connor Street off this way and Provost Avenue on that way. And we're going over the Hutchinson River. And as soon as we get the light, I'm going to go ahead and go across. But you can see the sign there for the Eastchester Bridge. And I don't have a whole lot of information about this bridge as far as when it was built or the specifics of the distance of it. But you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to check my watch and just get a distance. It's probably about a half a mile across, and it's fairly high. And because the Hutchinson River is navigable here. And this part of Eastchester, this part of the Bronx, as well as, now we are very close to the Westchester County border. And on the other side of the bridge, we will basically be on the Westchester County border, with Pelham Manor being the next town up. But I will show you that. But this whole area is a lot of industrial. Here on this side of the bridge, we have a lot of like auto repair places, but along the river itself, you've got, oh my goodness, this is going to be okay. Along the river itself, you have scrap yards, recycling plants, concrete and asphalt plants. And one of the other things I wanted to show you, we got about a foot of snow a week ago here in New York City, and it's been bitter cold ever since, so it really hasn't melted. It's just gotten packed down and hard. So I kind of wanted to show you that. It looks like the walkway over the bridge is pretty clear, but I kind of wanted to show you like an average bridge in New York City, because the bridges, overpasses, viaducts, they don't always clear the snow in the wintertime. It looks like this one is actually pretty clear, so that's good to see. But I remember one very unpleasant run across the Adabo Bridge and the Gil Hodges Marine Parkway Bridge. Okay, so you have to kind of go across the street here, and I'm on the north side. I'm just going to say north if we're generally heading west. But there's a service road on each side. You have to cross over that service road. And this is a little Peachtree Street, a little cross street, so you can get there as well. So there's just 4 lanes of traffic, sidewalk on both sides. As I don't know when it was built. It was probably built like in the 50s, it looks like. I did see a couple of pictures from 1910 1917 that showed a low bridge, like stone and wooden bridge over the river. So this is definitely much bigger. It goes pretty high. It's fairly steep. Like I said, the river is navigable here. So, but again, Boston Road. This carries Boston Road, which is, of course, one of the first roads in colonial North America. Outside of New York City, it's called Boston Post Road, because one of its main functions was to carry mail back and forth, go mail. And in fact, a lot of the earlier roads and highways in North America were built primarily for mail. You can kind of get an idea of the industrial areas here. And there's a bridge over there that carries New York throughways for interstate only. There's no pedestrian access there. But it's very interesting to see. Looks like the river. This would be very nice. You can see the river. If not frozen over, it's snowed over. So it's very interesting. And you see the barge over there with the scrap metal. So you can see part of what its usage is. And so on that side, that goes toward, that's downriver. So that goes towards Co-op City, where we visited the last couple of bridges. Co-op City, Pelham Bay Park, and out to Pelham Bay and Long Island Sound. And then this side is upriver, and it's navigable. Like I said, you can kind of get an idea of the industrial usage of that area. Like I said, scrap yards, recycling, concrete and asphalt. And that goes up it's navigable for a little ways, and then it's a narrower stream for a while. Hutchinson River is not a major river in Westchester County, but in any case, yeah, a lot of scrap yards. But this does come down into the Bronx. There is a small neighborhood here that is still part of the Bronx before it becomes Westchester County. Now, you get into the history of how the Bronx became the Bronx. The current boundaries for the Bronx were drawn in 1895. And prior to that, parts of what's now the Western Bronx were annexed into New York City. But in 1895, all of what is currently the Bronx became part of New York City. And even at that time, it wasn't a separate borough. There were no separate boroughs. New York City was Manhattan and these parts of the Bronx. It didn't become a borough until, I believe, 1914. And of course, the greater consolidation of Greater New York in 1898 brought in Queens, Brooklyn, and Staten Island. But in 1895, the lines were drawn, boundary lines between New York City, what is now the Bronx, and Westchester County. And it was basically a straight line between such and such a place and such and such a place. And that straight line does not correspond to current street grids. So I think there's a certain functionality, and then there's a certain of how they decide it. But to the best of what I've been able to determine, I will show you here. And we will come down. There's McCohen Avenue is the first street here. So now we are down into the Bronx and yeah, so it's about a half a mile long, the bridge. And but I will you cannot get across the street right there. But here we're going to be at Ropes Avenue. On the other side of the bridge is the next street light is Ropes Avenue. There's a Wendy's here. And this Wendy's is the last piece of the Bronx. So Ropes Avenue at this point, as best I can tell, is now the boundary between the Bronx and Pelham Manor, which is a town in Westchester County. So the Wendy's is Bronx, the IHOP is Westchester. And there is like I said, there's a residential neighborhood down there. And that's part of the Bronx. But otherwise, we have Westchester County, Pelham Manor. There's a nice shopping center there. So it's a very interesting place to run. And I'm actually very glad to see that the walkway has been cleared and it's safe to go across. And that is a look at the Eastchester Bridge in the Bronx. So, and thank you for joining me on my winter run. It's about 16 degrees right now, so it's actually warmer than it's been. It's like I said, we got all this snow, and it's been just chilling, bone-chilling cold in this whole past week, and it's not supposed to get above freezing this coming week either, I don't think so. But anyway, thank you for joining me on that trip across the Eastchester Bridge. Hope to see you out here running sometime, and we'll see where the wind takes us for the next one.